All right, what's up, you guys? In this video, we're talking about flexible dieting versus clean eating. I got Coco here in the background here to join us. We're going to talk about the pros and cons for both flexible dieting and if it fits your macros versus the pros and cons for clean eating. Now, I know a lot of people have questions about which one should they follow when they're trying to lose weight and stuff like that, which one's more sustainable over the long term. So we're going to talk about all that stuff in this video. Just as a quick disclaimer, you guys, I am the author of a flexible dieting and if it fits your macros book, so take that with a grain of salt. I do follow flexible dieting myself. However, I am going to give clean eating a fair shot here. I've tried it in the past and I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of it. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. All right, so first let's talk about the case for if it fits your macros and flexible dieting. So what exactly is flexible dieting? Well, unlike other diets, like let's say the vegan diet or like the keto diet, the paleo diet, and other diets where you follow strict guidelines and rules, if it fits your macros is more of a like style of dieting. So technically you can follow any diet and still follow if it fits your macros or flexible dieting. I actually have an entire video on how to start flexible dieting, so I'll link that down below. You guys can check that out on my channel as well. And so for flexible dieting, if you want to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. And also that is true for every other diet or anything. Anyone who wants to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. It doesn't matter if you're vegan, following a keto diet, or flexible dieting with any other diet, right? Or clean eating. You have to be in a calorie deficit. Now, the difference between flexible dieting and other diets is that let's say you have 2,500 calories to eat. Technically, you can eat whatever you want so long as you don't go over your calories and also your macronutrients. So let's say you have 2,500 calories, 250 grams of protein, 250 grams of carbs, and 55 grams of fat. So what flexible dieting is saying is that as long as you don't go over 2,500 calories and as long as you are in the ballpark range of those macronutrients for each macronutrient source, protein, carbs, and fat, as long as you don't go over them and you hit them usually in the ballpark range every day, you are good to go. You can eat whatever you want. Now, this includes pizza, bread, rice, all the little things that other diets may not allow you to have. Flexible dieting is like, I don't care. As long as you hit those macronutrient goals and don't go over the calorie goals, then you are good to go. So with that being said, let's go over the pros of if it fits your macros and flexible dieting first. So the first pro is that there are no restrictions or anything of the sort with flexible dieting. It's all based on your calories. So like I said, if you want to have rice, you can have rice. If you want to have bread, you can have bread. If you want to have ice cream for dessert, you can have ice cream for dessert. It all matters. It's all based on your calories and macronutrients. Again, if you don't go over them and you hit your macronutrient goals within a ballpark range, then you're good to go. Another pro is that obviously this adds a ton of flexibility to your diet. That's again why it's called flexible dieting. You can have a multitude of food sources that you may not have been able to have on with other diets, like the keto diet, for example. The keto diet is an all-fat diet where you can't really have carbs, and if you can, it's very little amount of carbs. With this, you can have French fries, you can have ice cream, you can have anything that has carbs in it, and you won't be like shunned for it. So that's another pro. Another pro is that it adds a ton of flexibility to your diet, hence the name flexible dieting. So for example, let's say you have a flexible dieting meal plan, and part of that meal plan for like meal number 1, for example, is 8 ounces of chicken breast, which is usually around 240 calories. If you don't want to have chicken breast one meal, you can easily switch that out for steak or salmon or any other type of meat or protein source and use that instead. It's not really, you're not stuck to chicken breast because it is very clean and it is just fat free. It's all boneless, and you know, you can not only have chicken, you can have ground beef, you can have ground turkey, you can have salmon, tilapia, whatever your favorite protein source is. As long as it's the same amount of calories or just a little bit over, it doesn't even matter that much. You can still switch it out, and that's flexibility that you can have. Instead of rice, if you don't like rice, you can have sweet potatoes, you can have black beans, you can have something else other than whatever clean eating or keto or paleo, whatever they're recommending. You can have that flexibility there. Another pro is that it's never too boring. So let's say a random ice cream truck like stopped right outside of your house and you're like, oh my God, I'm craving an ice cream sandwich bar, okay? Well, flexible dieting allows you to have whatever you want, right? Well, let's say you have a meal plan, okay? What you would do is you would take out, let's say the sandwich bar from the ice cream truck is 300 calories. you would take out 300 calories from your meal plan that's already in place. So you can take out 100 calories from rice from meal one, 100 calories from sweet potatoes in another meal, or you can take out 300 calories from a meal altogether. So it's never really too boring. You can definitely have those treats if something just surprisingly comes out and you have you're craving something, or you don't have a choice. You're at a birthday party and you want some chips or some cake or something like that. Well, there you go. You know that you can take out those calories from somewhere, because again, it's all based on your calories and your macronutrient content. Now, with all that being said, you guys, there are some cons to if it fits your macros and flexible dieting. And the first one is that there is more of a bit of an initial setup when it comes to flexible dieting. Whereas with other diets, the rules are pretty simple, like don't eat carbs, right? If it fits your macros is a lot more flexible, and some people don't like that. They don't like having the customization and flexibility of flexible dieting, whereas others like to be told what to eat, what to do, how much of what to have, and all that stuff, right? So when diets have simple rules, it's easier to follow. That's why some people like having those rules and restrictions. Flexible dieting is a little more custom, and at the start, it can take up a lot of initial knowledge and trial and error before you find something that works for you. All right, so another con of flexible dieting is that you have to constantly use a food scale. At least for the first 2 to 3 months is what I tell people who just want to at least try to get started with flexible dieting. At least give it 2 to 3 months before you feel comfortable using a food scale. Now, why do we need to use a food scale, right? Why is it required for flexible dieting? Well, we want to accurately calculate the calories and macronutrient content of the foods we eat. So let's say we're setting up a meal plan and we want white rice, right? Well, the difference visually of 100 grams of white rice, 150 grams, and 200 grams of white rice is very hard to tell. Now, 100 grams versus 200 grams, you can probably tell a difference, right? But 100 to 150 grams of white rice is very hard to tell. Same thing with peanut butter. If I showed you 20 grams of peanut butter and 32 grams of peanut butter, you would be like, what's the difference, right? And so it's very hard to tell. That's why we use a food scale to accurately calculate all these calories and macros of all the foods we eat in our meal plan that we will create, right? And I have a video on how to create your flexible dieting meal plan. If you want to check that out, I'll have that link down below. Also, I have a video on how to use a food scale. I'll link that down in the description as well. Now, another con is that there is a constant use of MyFitnessPal. You can also use another app like Chronometer or other similar like food tracking apps, but I use MyFitnessPal. That's what the majority uses, and so that's what I show and teach on this channel. Now, you basically need MyFitnessPal so it can track everything for you and do all the crazy hard math. I say crazy because it's really just algebra, but really just the crazy hard math that you would otherwise have to do if MyFitnessPal wasn't invented. So for example, if you have 2,500 calories to eat in a day and you had 240 calories worth of chicken breast and 150 calories worth of white rice, for example, let's just say that was your meal for whatever reason, then you would be at 390 calories, and you would have to subtract that from 2,500, and then that's how much you have left. Or then you would have to calculate the macronutrient, protein, carbs, and fat of the white rice and the chicken breast all manually, and then just figure out how much you have left for the day. All that sounds crazy complicated. I don't want to do that. I don't think you guys want to do that. That's why we use MyFitnessPal. Now, if you think doesn't sound that hard, well, try doing that every day for each meal. And let's say you have 5 meals for the day. I'd rather just have an app do it for me. So that's why we use MyFitnessPal. And MyFitnessPal is super easy to use. It comes with a barcode scanner, so you can literally scan the barcodes of the packaging of foods that you buy from the grocery store, for example, and it'll tell you, okay, 8 ounces of chicken breast is 240 calories. You would weigh out 8 ounces on the food scale, therefore that is 240 calories, and however much protein, carbs, and fat for that chicken breast. Boom, it's already saved in MyFitnessPal. That's why you have to use it, but that is a con. You do have to learn how to use that. You have to learn how to use a food scale and stuff like that. And obviously another con, it kind of goes with the last two, is that there's just a lot of initial learning that you have to go through in order for flexible dieting to work for you. So that is one con in it of itself with using a food scale, using MyFitnessPal. So just know that in advance. All right, so now that we've talked about flexible dieting, let's go ahead and talk about clean eating. What exactly is clean eating? Well, the definition based on Mayo Clinic is that clean eating basically encourages you to consume more whole foods such as fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, and healthy fats, and limit highly processed snacks, snack foods, sweets, and other packaged foods. So, in other words, you basically can't eat much junk while eating clean. So, this means more vegetables, more fruits, more whole grains, and healthy fats, and less meat, less packaged foods, and less high sodium foods. And so while that doesn't really sound like terrible advice, right? That actually sounds kind of, all right, that sounds good. That sounds like something I would want to follow for the benefits of that. Well, it's not all great. So let's talk about the pros and cons of clean eating, and I'll let you guys decide for yourself. So pro number one of clean eating is that you get more micronutrients in a clean eating diet as opposed to a flexible dieting diet where you would eat a lot more junk. That's what a lot of people think when they think of flexible dieting. They think you're just eating junk, you're eating donuts, ice cream, and all that stuff. It's not true. But what clean eating says and what they have going for it is that, well, you get more micronutrients because you're not eating that junk, you're not eating processed foods, you're not eating high sodium foods and a lot of meats and stuff like that. So that's what one of the pros is. You get a lot more micronutrients from eating clean as opposed to eating junk. Now, that's not to say all flexible dieters just eat junk. They just eat Oreos and Pop-Tarts and all that stuff all day, but some of them do. So that is a pro in favor of clean eating. You get a lot more micronutrients, which is very important in the grand scheme of things. So with that being said, another pro is that you have less deficiencies. So with eating clean, you also get, again, more micronutrients. That means you get more iron, you get more vitamin C, you get a lot of more vitamins, you have less deficiencies, at least a lower chance of being deficient in some sort of vitamin, as opposed to a flexible dieting diet where you're just focused on macronutrients and that's it. You're only focused on protein, carbs, and fat, and you're not focus on how much iron you're getting or how much vitamins you're getting of whatever source, right? So that's one pro that clean eating gets. Just naturally, by following a clean eating diet, you get more micronutrients and therefore less deficiencies overall. That doesn't mean you're not going to have any deficiencies. It's just one thing that's going for clean eating as opposed to flexible dieting, in the sense that flexible dieters eat junk and clean eaters don't. So let's now talk about the cons of clean eating. So con number one is that it can get boring super quickly, right? The thought of eating another clean meal, another clean salad, another chicken breast and broccoli and sweet potato meal, whatever it is, whatever clean meal that you think is clean, and eating that again when all you want to do is have some ice cream, you want to have a donut, you want to have an Oreo, you want to have some chips or something here and there. That thought of not being able to have that stuff because you are following a clean eating diet, that can help make you feel like it's just getting way too boring and make you more likely to binge eat and just fall off the rails completely. And so that brings me to con number two. You are more likely to go off the rails, quote unquote, because you are just depriving yourself too much from the foods that you love. If clean eating says you can't have any burgers, but you love burgers, then you are definitely, it doesn't matter if you don't in the first 2 months or in the first 6 months, you are eventually going to binge and have a damn burger, right? So you are definitely more likely, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but you are way more likely to binge and fall off the rails because you are depriving yourselves from all your favorite foods with clean eating. And then lastly, another con is that this all develops a bad relationship with food for you. Now, because you're eating clean so often, and just biting into a candy bar just makes you feel so stressful and like, oh my God, why did I do that? That's not what I'm allowed to do. You start to feel bad about foods. You start to have a love-hate relationship with all these bad foods, and it just becomes a bad relationship overall with food, and that's not what it should be like. You shouldn't be depriving yourself of foods that you love just because you're trying to lose weight. Shouldn't be like that. It should be something that's sustainable. So that is one con. Another con that clean eating has going for it. And so that's really it, you guys, for this video. I kind of wanted to go over the pros and cons of both clean eating and flexible dieting and have you guys decide for yourselves which one is better for you. In my opinion, I think flexible dieting is a lot more sustainable in the long term for everyone. I have a book on flexible dieting explaining my experience with flexible dieting and why I think it's great and why I think everyone should take the time to learn about how to use the food scale, how to read nutrition labels, how to use MyFitnessPal, and overall how to basically lose weight without giving up your favorite foods. It's what I've been using for a long time. Although I'm not my leanest right now, I have used it before to get very lean and lose weight multiple times. It's how I first initially lost 50 pounds without depriving myself of all my favorite foods. So if you guys want to learn more about if it fits your macros and flexible dieting, definitely check out my book down below in the description, or you can go on Amazon, type in IIFYM into Amazon search bar, and it should be the first one, the organic result there. And so yeah, if you guys like clean eating, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys like if it fits your macros better and flexible dieting, leave a comment down below and let me know. But that's going to be it for this video, you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.